My husband's spending habits are ruining our marriage despite him making 6 figures.
We're cutting you off.
And this comes directly from the r/okstorytime subreddit. So let us know if you're in the comments right now. I, 38 female, and my husband, John, 40 male, are having marital issues that I believe started with finances. We went into both the relationship and marriage knowing we were on completely different levels financially. John made it seem like a non-issue because it's just money and he made so much of it. Despite how he talked about money, I knew things happen and money can be a huge issue, so I wanted to protect us both before we got married. By the way, this comes from Cray to Stay, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/okstorytime subreddit. And I'm Angie.
I'm Sophia.
And I'm Keon. Slay.
And I will now forever use Cray to Stay when we talk about these relationships.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's great to stay.
Yeah. But OP says, I made it clear that a prenup was a must and he had to be active in helping me create it. I typed out a fair agreement, which left us basically leaving with what we came into unless we became mutually or individually wealthy while married. The major issue was that I went into it with school loans, a mortgage, and a small income, whereas John owned a small home outright and had no debt and made a very comfortable wage. Initially, I was in charge of finances. John and I have always done our bills very differently. I grew up poor and felt comfortable knowing how every penny was spent, saving several months worth of expenses as a just in case and budgeting accordingly. I didn't have jobs that could easily support a single person, let alone a woman and a child, so the struggle was real, but I always made it work and had enough. John was the polar opposite. While he wasn't rich growing up, he was very comfortable and money was never an issue. As an adult, there was never a financial struggle for him either. He bought a home, vehicle, had a 401k, made almost 6 figures, never put thought into budgeting, paid bills as an afterthought, unbothered by potential late fees, never saved money, and finds savings accounts to be secondary to spending accounts. Or to be secondary spending accounts.
Ew.
Who are his parents? Did they discover oil? Like,
yeah.
What is...
Are his parents frackers?
Who are they, dude? I don't think his way was necessarily wrong. It worked fine for him as a single man with only himself and 2 dogs to worry about. I'm just highlighting how incredibly opposite our finances were.
His way was wrong.
Yeah, exactly. When we started combining bills, I was naive and assumed he would be better with money because he had so much of it. Wasn't in debt. He owned a home outright, never worried about finances, and seemed so zen about money. I completely took all his suggestions into account, attempted to mix the way I did things with how he did them, listened to what he would say about it, and I failed. You can't make oil and water mix without an extreme process, and I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't mix what I understood and was comfortable with what he understood and was comfortable with. Yeah, it makes sense, because if you're so incredibly frugal and then you just see some guy that's just like, taking out your savings.
So you don't. So what I do is I take all the money out of my savings.
Yeah.
And then I just make more.
Because it'll come back.
It'll come back. That's what you just got to realize. Money comes back. So spend it while you have it.
Exactly.
All of it. In one go. On gambling.
That would make a lot of people very uncomfortable.
Yes.
I kept trying to mesh our financial styles and talk him into making it work, but he hates having conversations about important things that may bring up uncomfortable feelings.
He's like, ooh. He's like, can we please talk about like your... how we're going to approach our finances and stuff.
Yeah.
He's like, see, my motto in life is Hakuna Matata. It means no worries. Right. So I don't worry about anything. And like, you bringing up finances? Downer.
That's not in
freaking party
Matata,
pooper over here.
Yeah. You're really... You're really taking the hakuna out of my matata.
Literally. While I didn't realize it then, he also felt like I was calling him out for being financially irresponsible.
So, yeah.
But he never said that, though. Instead, he pointed out that I had always struggled financially, and he had not. I struggled to keep bills paid, and he had not. He had a 401k, and therefore had a large and accessible amount of money at a moment's notice, and I did not. Essentially, he pointed out my financial inadequacies, and I felt foolish and decided that he should be in charge of all finances.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
I just don't like it.
I don't like that.
He got one, sniff of maybe being accused of being like financially irresponsible, and then was like, well, but what? I make more money,
so I
well,
should be in charge of the finances.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, you don't need to like come at me like that, dude. Come on,
dude. Back off.
Like, back off, man.
Back off.
He always told me not to worry about money. If we need it, buy it. If we want it, buy it. I initially had a lot of difficulty with this. We had a few talks about it, and it always seemed to be dismissed as a me problem, so I let it go and just spent blindly to maintain my inner peace. While I spend next to nothing on myself, short of a few thrift or Walmart outfits a year and a few coffees a month, I do spend money on fixing the house. Make no mistake, I don't mean buying knickknacks or luxury linens. I bought windows, siding, flooring, trim, insulation, and things of that nature with my portion of the first joint tax return and my stimulus money. John hated that I was buying things in anticipation of a project rather than right before the project started. But he was very upset, and I tried to explain that I needed to buy the materials when I could afford them in order to do the project, because dropping significant amounts of money at the time I was ready to start a project would not be an option for me. He informed me that it not only would be an option, but the whole idea of all that crap taking up space made him angry and uncomfortable. We are 3 people in a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom home with an attic, basement, and shed. I agreed to not purchase any more materials until the project start, even though that made me nervous and uncomfortable. I had bought about half the siding we would need and almost all the windows the year before prices tripled. The next year, 2023, we decided to have the house resided and new windows installed. I had difficulty finding contractors because they were all so busy, and eventually landed on the cheaper of the 2 who showed up. John was shocked and upset by the prices quoted, but I was confused by his being upset because we had already discussed that it would be a huge chunk of money all at once and that it would be fine. In his often repeated words, "Don't worry about it, I've got money."
I trust you less and less every time you say that.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it, though.
Don't worry about
Don't
it.
worry about
Just
it.
don't
Don't
look.
worry about it, sweetheart. I got money.
Don't look, man. It's in the past. See, I looked at it and then I looked away, and now it's in the past and I don't have to worry about it.
Exactly.
That's all.
Everything is in the past if you only look forward.
Exactly. After many confusing discussions where everything I said was wrong, it was decided that we would remove our old siding to save money. This caused many arguments because John hates working, let alone coming home from work to then need to do anything at the house. We were miserable. It turned out that I saved us well over $1,000 by buying materials early.
Good on you.
This was no comfort to him and actually seemed to upset him. He was awful to me during the whole process and for several months after, but around Thanksgiving, we established a fragile peace and things were good again. The next spring, John decided that he wanted a patio in the back of the house. I was dreading a new project, but wanted him happy. I tried talking him into the driveway that I had been planning, so we had more parking instead. He was adamant, so I agreed. We fought the whole time. His friend Doug was going to do the patio, but we had to prepare the site for the concrete. Doug was trying to upsell him at every turn, and John kept insisting that it was what he wanted at first. Doug and John thought a larger, stamped, and colored patio would be ideal. I disagreed completely. We're lucky I finally started insisting on the cheaper, smaller, low-maintenance option that matched our driveway better, or we would still be arguing about it. That project was several $1,000s at this point, and things were actually starting to get tight financially. We each have a separate bank account and credit card. We have one joint bank account. I buy all household items, gas, groceries, takeout for the family, etc. on my credit card, and he pays the overwhelming majority of the bill. He puts money into the joint account once a month, and then I pay the credit card from there. The crazy extent of the credit card bill every month is food. I contribute the overwhelming majority of my money to the credit card, but it's a pittance compared to the balance. I tried to talk to John about establishing a food budget and eating budget-friendly items. He hated the idea and pretty much flat out vetoed it. He hates the whole idea of budgeting, but the idea of not eating beef every day or packaged foods whenever he wants was like slapping him in the face.
Oh my goodness.
This is wild,
Oh my
dude.
goodness. He just doesn't know how to budget at all.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. Like, one thing when you're living alone, but like to have kids and a wife and still not know how to budget?
Right.
Like, are you guys, like, is he saving for a college fund? Because he doesn't seem to believe in savings.
Yeah, right? Like, it has to be just, like, a crazy amount of inheritance money because I feel like when people are self-made rich, they're usually like extremely frugal.
Yeah, it's like pinching, they're constantly pinching pennies. It's
which
no.
it both kind of makes sense. Like I could see both happening of like, you build this up so you want to be very thoughtful and smart about your money and you want to just have a lot of money rather than, buying things, which makes sense. But then it does make sense that if he just grew up like this, like that he wouldn't have any sort of budgeting skills at all because he's just like, we have it.
We just
not
always
really
had that money.
An issue.
Yeah.
It's been hard and slow, but I have at least gotten him to be fine with some store brands and a few other meats sprinkled into our diet, as well as fewer packaged snacks. Our diets were also polar opposites. I'm doing my best to mesh our diets, but all food is outrageously expensive these days. And if we can't keep the peace between us while we go through this very slow process, we just won't make it. I don't have a lot of faith that you'll make it anyway. I'm gonna be honest.
I'm not, I
don't have a lot of faith that you should
I
make it. I
support you, OP.
Yeah.
Because you're one of us.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just also feels like she's making so many changes and like
he's not. Yeah, it feels like your partner hasn't done a lot of compromising.
Yeah, it's just like you sacrificing. That's not what we want.
No.
Despite me already having a part-time job, caring for my son with autism and ADHD, fixing half the things that break, doing all of the cleaning and scheduling and planning for the house, I am now planning to get either a second job or a different full-time one. After many arguments and years of being fooled into financial insecurity, I need to start building my walls and coffers back up. I want a true savings again. I want security, stability, and our happiness back. I've told him that I plan to save almost all of my money from the new job, and I don't want to hear a word about it. At this point, I need this, or I won't feel okay with continuing this relationship. And by the way, I hope you continue to listen to full episodes with more stories just like this one on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app. Just search Storytime. Do it. You could do it so easily. But yeah, there's a little bit more to the story, but I think this is very smart of her.
Yeah, I agree.
Very. Yeah. I mean, you got to look out for number one.
And that's you.
Especially with your
finances.
And
also your child.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And it's good that she was like kind of money conscious at first, like from the start. And,
like unfortunately he was very convincing in, telling you, oh, I should be in charge of all the money. But like never let anyone be fully in charge of your money. Yeah. People can give you advice and they can be helpful, but always keep an eye out.
Right.
For what's going on with your funds.
You can trust people, you could love people, and they could love and trust you, but you never know.
Well, I think it's just like
you never know.
You can trust people. People are like a lot of people have your best interest at heart, but they also just might not, make the best decisions in general.
Yeah.
They might make mistakes, so just be aware of what's happening with your money because they might not know what they're supposed to be doing.
While this isn't all of the issues we have, I believe it's where all of them are branching from. He has so many complementary qualities that make us mesh like the finely woven fabric you want your life to be. John and I love each other very much, and we are going to start going back to therapy as soon as I can fit it in. When we are in a good place, we are amazingly happy and probably the envy of any couple with how loving and caring we are with one another. John always gave me a piece in my soul that I value more than money, looks, and humor, which he also has. The fact that he is verbally lashing out so much anymore is breaking us. Even if he apologizes after, my trust in him is broken at that point. Without that piece, I want to back away from what we've built. I want to run far and fast. So since you Redditors have such good advice for posts like this, please give me your 2 cents. Do you think we can overcome this with therapy, or am I beating a passed away horse?
Well, I think that you should work with, to go to therapy first, just because you have a kid. In general, like therapy, how to co-parent is super important. I would say like your eyes seem to be opened about how he is treating your finances and treating your relationship and not really valuing you as a partner. He's treating you as someone like that he has to kind of teach, and that's
right.
You're not an equal to him, it seems. I discovered my husband's text with his coworker 2 weeks after our wedding.
Dude, you messed that up so fast.
I'm shaking as I'm writing this right now. My husband, 32 male, and I, 26 female, got married 2 weeks ago. We have been together for 4.5 years. An almost 2-year-old daughter.
Oh no.
For starters, I am completely in shock. When I say this man is loyal, dependable, Consider it. I mean it. He is truly my best friend and my favorite person on earth besides our daughter. By the way, this comes from No Explanation 824 on the r/TwoHotTakes subreddit. And if you want to spend your own stories, go to the r/OKstorytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
I'm Angie.
And I'm Keon.
And OP says, my husband is an upper executive at a mid-sized company that we were both working at when we met. We decided I was going to be a stay-at-home mom once our daughter was born because we were in a good financial spot, and it's truly what we both wanted. He is still at this company, and part of his former position was to oversee HR. This wasn't exactly typical of someone in his role, but it was a smaller company at the time, and it just worked out that way. A woman was hired at the end of 2022, beginning of 2023. We'll call her Amber. I didn't know much about Amber other than seeing her name on a few blanket HR-related company emails, but I noticed that she was younger than most of the people we worked with about my age. This actually excited me because I initially thought maybe we could become work friends.
So hopeful. So naive.
Fast forward a couple of months, and I noticed one day while my husband was showing me a Snapchat video from his friend group that Amber had requested to add him. I thought this was odd considering he was her superior and they didn't interact much. Or so I thought at the time.
Dun dun dun.
I asked him about it, and he brushed it off by saying he had no idea why she added him, but that he wasn't going to accept. He didn't. I then noticed a few months later that they started following each other on Instagram. I again asked him about this and stated that I felt slightly uncomfortable with a female coworker attempting to connect on social media, especially because, again, I was being told that he really doesn't know this girl and has only talked to her once or twice in the office. I would just like to say I do have my insecurities like every woman, but I by no means have ever felt this way towards anyone my husband has interacted with. He has many women coworkers that have become my friends by relation that we both adore. We have a larger friend group of men and women, and I truly have never thought twice. He then started to deflect a bit, saying the Instagram following wasn't a big deal. He's just trying to maintain a good working relationship for professionalism's sake. I didn't buy this. I have had many professional working relationships with men in my career that never carried over to social media or my personal life. I would like to pause. Snapchat is one thing.
Yeah.
Instagram, everyone follows each other on Instagram.
Yeah.
I feel like it's one of the easiest way to network with people that you've just met. Personally, it's like...
Totally. I feel like in a lot of ways, like if you barely know someone, it's a good way to
Yeah,
get
it's
to
a
know
better
people.
way. I agree.
Yeah.
Fast forward to the middle and end of 2023, about 3 months before I was due to give birth, and I got a message from her on Teams asking me what I was wearing to an upcoming company boat party. Mind you, I had never spoken to this woman in my life. I didn't know her at all. And I was unaware that she knew me because, again, they don't know each other that well. I gave a polite, unsuspecting response and left it at that. I did, however, reiterate to my husband that I felt this woman's intentions were off, and I couldn't place why I had such a strong gut feeling. At this company party, she made a point to come up and say hello and begin a conversation with my husband, where it was clear to me that they had talked many times previously. She brought up inside topics that they discussed, like her Jeep, her plans for the following weekend, etc. And I feel like she's doing this on purpose in front of you.
It's very possible.
At this point, I was pregnant, hormonal.
Oh, gosh.
But my red flags were flagging. All the alarm bells were going off. It was at this point that I really made my feelings known and requested to my husband that they cease contact. He agreed and said it was no problem. She ended up leaving the company later that year, and things went quiet until last night. Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
We were sitting on the couch after putting our daughter to bed, and he mentioned to me that she texted him congratulations on our wedding. I was a bit surprised, considering it had been almost 2 years since they would have even interacted. I asked to see the message, and then my stomach sank. I could see there were previous texts dating back to March of this year. About once a month or so. It's currently August. The first message was out of place, meaning that there were messages prior to March that were deleted. I immediately confronted him about this, and he claimed that he deleted the previous messages because he knew I would have been upset that she was texting him. Why? Why would she have been upset? Because you set a boundary and you agreed to that boundary?
I just kept a secret from you because I knew you wouldn't like it if you knew that I cheated on you.
That's why. Again, I didn't even know they exchanged personal phone numbers. He swears on our marriage that there was never any flirting, but that he knew his contact with her alone was wrong, and that's why the messages were deleted. I don't know if I can believe him, but I also do at the same time. I mean, is your marriage really that sacred if he cheated on you? You know, like, of course he would be swearing on that if you cheated.
Right.
Because you didn't care about the marriage.
He didn't care.
That would be like a terrible thing to swear on.
Yeah.
He has now confessed that they were texting slightly more often when she was an employee at this company, but it was only one message from her here or there that he would respond to out of courtesy. My problem, you were being courteous at the expense of me. I feel so embarrassed that she felt comfortable enough to even text my husband in the first place. I'm sorry if this is jumbled. I'm still in shock. This is not cheating or really anything close, I hope, but it crossed major boundaries and it hurt me badly. My trust in him is shaken. What do I do? Reaching out to her for clarification sounds insane and really won't solve anything other than make me look desperate. I want to believe him, but how can I? How can I stand up for myself without blowing this out of proportion? And there are some comments. Comment 1 says, he's giving you bits of the truth as you discover it for yourself. There's no way of knowing how much he's kept from you, as he's proven he's not honest to begin with. I'm sorry for what you're going through, and I don't want to just tell you to leave him because I know it's not that easy. You can lay it all out for him and hope he's honest with you, but you're at his mercy in terms of how much he decides to reveal. My ex pulled crap like this, another reply says, because he was hiding crap. And there is an update, folks. But what do you think's going on?
I think there's some cheating.
Yeah, I don't trust him.
Yeah.
I don't trust him.
I don't either, because it's like, it's just, his excuses are stupid.
They're so bad.
Like,
they're
okay,
genuinely terrible.
I'm agreeing to not talk to this woman anymore for you.
But I did talk to her.
Because she texted me first. What
she
was I supposed to do?
Me
not
first,
respond?
And it was rude to not reply.
Like, that's like.
I know you told me not to talk to her.
I know
but
you told me. Yeah, but
to.
like, that to me, I guess, means I'm not going to reach out first.
And then she like asked me out. I had to go. It would have been rude to say no.
Exactly.
What do you want from me?
Yeah, I demand a maternity test.
A maternity test?
Yes.
What?
Is this baby even hers? There was cheating going on before the baby came.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Update. First of all, I want to say thank you to every single person that responded or offered advice. I know some of it is harsh, but it's the harsh I need to keep myself from being gaslit in this situation. I told my husband I needed a few hours to myself to think and took off for a good drive / listen to music and cry session. I'll be speaking with him tonight after I feel like I'm ready to go home, and we'll be telling him that we'll all be seeing a couples counselor ASAP. I don't feel as though I can engage in a conversation about this without him deflecting and manipulating me, so I think I need a professional to help mediate. I can get really worked up when being gaslit due to trauma from a past relationship, and it makes it very difficult to speak clearly. I also need a neutral space away from my daughter, so she is not emotionally affected in any way. A few clarifications from the comments. My husband did block Amber over everything, Instagram and phone number. I checked other apps for verification, and said that he will absolutely not be speaking to her again. But please speak to us again and listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Please just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. There is a little bit left to this story. Do you have any final thoughts?
I don't believe this man 1 second.
I mean, I understand why OP wants to, go to counseling and everything, and they've got a kid.
Sure.
It's fair.
Yeah.
I feel like do that. Hopefully there is nothing else going on here, and it was just texting, but
yeah.
Keep an eye out for suspicious behavior, and don't let them tell you you're losing your mind.
Exactly. Yeah, they have a kid, they've been married, they just got married, but it's worth it to give it a shot.
Yeah.
Because then if it is cheating, some people can move past that, some people can't. It's just kind of up to you guys. So, counseling will help with that either way. So yeah, give it a shot, but I mean, I don't know. I don't believe him. And I think the fact that he's still lying to you is a big problem.
Yeah. He keeps trickle-truthing.
You just got married. You just got married.
Not a good start.
No.
The texts that I did see were generally non-flirtatious, but they had a friendly tone that surprised me. like a familiarity. A few of them from her mentioned our beautiful family, and another alluded to an inside joke about my husband's father/my father-in-law, again signifying some kind of consistent communication. One was a selfie of her with some mutual contact of theirs. So it makes me wonder, if they were all generally innocent, why delete them? At the end of the day, there was something there. I just don't know to what extent. I'll be keeping composed and doing some digging in the meantime, separate from contacting Amber, which I've decided will do no good. Thank you again. And comment 1 says, I think therapy is absolutely necessary. Can I suggest, just so you have more facts, that you look at copies of the back phone records? You should be able to just access them through your online account if you share a cell plan. I discovered an emotional affair by looking at the detailed text and call logs. There were hundreds to the same number. You can't see the texts themselves, but seeing the number of them labeled as incoming and outgoing will at least tell you if he's being honest about the frequency of contact and how much he's actually responding. Good luck to you. And that is the end of that story.
My husband wanted to take a cruise with another woman and lied about it.
You can take a cruise on out of this relationship.
Oh, my 30 female husband, 38 male of 3 years, will always receive free cruise trips for 2 passengers at least once every 2 months. He is self-employed and able to work remotely while I am working in an office with limited annual leave entitlement. This means he can always travel freely while I'm almost always stuck at work. By the way, this comes from Impatient Procrastinate. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/okstorytime subreddit. I'm Angie.
I'm Sophia.
And I'm Keon.
And OP says, while he will always check with me first on my availability to go on these free cruise trips, oftentimes I won't be able to join, and he would go alone instead. On rare events that I did join the cruise, it wasn't that enjoyable for me, as he would spend a lot of time in the casino instead of accompanying me for a swim, gym, or show. This means that I'm mostly alone during non-mealtime and cruising days. Hence, I would rather use my annual leave on air travels instead of going on cruises. Recently, he told me that one of his friends, Althea, 33 female, recently single, important note there, is interested in joining him for the cruise trip since she is available during that period and it is free of charge. Survey says,
no.
For background info, I had agreed and was comfortable with him going on a 2-week overseas trip with another friend, 38 female, single, as her actions are totally appropriate towards opposite gender based on the limited interactions that I had with B. However, I'm not comfortable with him traveling with Althea, as I had observed Althea being inappropriate in front of a group of friends, sitting on the lap of another guy that was just a friend of hers.
Get off his lap.
That's not where friends sit. That's not where they sit.
Get off his lap.
I don't know. Dakota sits in my lap a couple times.
I sit on a lot of my friend's lap. But,
yeah,
but in this case.
But not here.
Off.
Not like this.
Get a spray bottle.
Yeah. We are all from Asian culture. I have not seen her make any inappropriate action towards my husband, though. My husband casually mentioned to me that Althea suggested that the 3 of us share a room on the cruise as long as it is free of charge. He told me that he is totally not comfortable with Althea's suggestion. I also told him that I disagree with him going on any one-on-one trip with Althea because of the said incident I observed. Today, not sure if it's my 6th sense or what, I went to secretly read my husband's chat with Althea. Aww.
No.
It was my first time, believe it or not. When Althea first asked if she could join him for the free cruise, he replied that he will definitely say yes if he is not married. But then he went ahead and checked cruise availability based on their available dates. This was not aligned with what he told me, and it felt fishy. Thankfully, the cruise is fully booked for their dates. On one hand, I feel guilty to limit the number of trips that he can go on just because of my limited annual leave, and I want him to travel as much as possible before we have children. On the other hand, I feel insecure as I had gained about 66 pounds since dating him, though my husband is overweight too. Both of his female friends are slim, above average looking, and date men on and off. My husband doesn't have any male friend to travel together with, as all his male friends are married with children. Althea and him don't have any mutual friends, so if they travel together, it would just be the 2 of them. Is it okay that I asked if I can check his chat with Althea and then clarify with him if he intends to travel one-on-one with her? And
it would have been okay if you hadn't secretly done it. But more so, you shouldn't be in a relationship because you don't trust each other.
Yeah, because honestly, I mean,
It is weird. It is suspicious that he said that.
It could be, but also I feel like it could not be. You know what I mean? Like
the thing is, yeah, I don't know. It's just like OP's lack of trust, which might be totally correct,
right,
and on spot. But regardless, like you don't trust your partner, so
yeah, like if he's telling you something different than what you're finding in the chat, then that's something that I would definitely not trust.
Yeah.
Those words alone, I feel like could be taken either way. Like I feel like it could be like, oh, if I'm not married, then I'd totally get with you. Blah, blah,
yeah,
you know?
But it was like,
or
if I'm not
it could
married,
be like, you know,
yeah,
like because I'm married, I'm
I can't really do this.
Yeah. Oh no.
I mean, like
clothes fell off.
Written texts can be taken very, very different ways.
Right. They're difficult.
Yeah.
So I don't think you'd be the a-hole for asking to check the text messages.
Yeah, no.
We'll clarify that, I guess. But we do have an update. So last night before we went to sleep, I asked my husband who he had invited to go on the cruise with him. He claimed that he didn't remember.
Ooh.
I told him that it was impossible to forget, but he stayed silent. Since I was exhausted after a sleepless night, I decided not to push the conversation and went to sleep. The next morning, I brought it up again and asked him one last time who he had invited. He finally admitted that it was Althea. When I asked if he was planning to share a room with her, he avoided answering and instead justified himself by saying that he only wanted her to gamble in order to earn free cruises like he does. Wait, what?
Huh?
That's just like a weird line. What do you do?
What do you mean?
Does he gamble to get these free cruises?
I guess so. I don't understand. And also, he's lying again. More lies. Everyone's lying in the story.
Yeah,
cut it
like
out.
about not.
He said, "Oh
who
yeah,
he invited.
I don't know who." And then OP was like, "Are you staying in the same room?" And he's like,
He avoided the yeah.
Yes, they are.
He added that he already knew that she wouldn't go with him anyway, but I thought she was asking about it.
She was.
To me, that response felt like an indirect admission that he had intended to share a room with her. I asked him why he would even invite Althea if he knew that she wouldn't agree to go. Deep down, I already knew the answer. He had been trying his luck. If she said no, he would lose nothing. If she said yes, he would get what he wanted. When I pressed further, he deflected by asking what I meant. After a long pause, I asked him what he would do differently if everything could restart. His answer was that he would ask me first before inviting Althea, and he apologized. I told him that I had given him a lot of trust because I believe trust is crucial in every relationship. I explained that I didn't want that trust to be misused. I acknowledged that it's normal for people in long-term relationships to sometimes find others attractive or even have inappropriate thoughts. But I reminded him that I trusted him to be mature enough not to put himself in situations where things could go wrong or where he'd be exposed to unnecessary temptations. I also said that no couple is ever a perfect 100% match, and that's okay. But if he ever felt like I wasn't giving him enough or that I was lacking in some way, I wanted him to talk to me about it rather than looking outside of our marriage to fill those gaps. I made it clear that I had thought deeply about this and that I was prepared to walk away from what we had built together if it came to that. He stayed silent while I spoke. After the conversation, I went into another room to give him space to think. About 20 minutes later, he came in, hugged me, and gave me a sincere apology. I accepted it. I believe our marriage is still salvageable, although I can't say I trust him as much as before. Still, I've decided to give him a bit of trust as he earns it back over time. And there is an update.
Ooh-wee.
I mean, it seems like we made more progress there.
Yeah.
But the fact that there's another update.
I don't believe it. I don't trust it.
I
feel like there's suspicious. I don't know. I just feel like she doesn't trust him. He's still lying to her, even when she brings it up.
Yeah.
And gives him a chance to come forward. So I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, like, you know, if he really does understand that he, you know,
messed up,
should have done this all differently. And if that apology really was genuine, then maybe things can be rebuilt. But like she said, he would have to earn her trust back over time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there is an update. So let's see. Update number 2. I asked to have another talk with him. Well, I made the choice to trust him again. Going back to our original routine like nothing happened is not going to earn back my trust for him. He has to do much more than that. He has to think how to earn back my trust to the original level. Initiating more intimacy with me is not going to solve the problem. He remained silent again. I then left the room to give him the space to think. After around 5 minutes, he came to find me, begging me to go back to the room again. I refused. I told him that I left the room to give him space to think and that it's not an ultimatum. If he needs more time to think, I can wait for a few days, but he can no longer remain silent on this. or else we cannot move forward with our marriage. Remaining silent hurts as much. He has to do something to make our marriage work. He offered to show me his cruise booking through the app to prove that he will be alone in the room. He also passed me his phone to check his chat with Althea. I didn't check the cruise booking, as even if he is not sharing a room with anyone, it doesn't prove that he is going alone. There isn't much suspicion in his chat with Althea, apart from the "I will definitely say yes if I'm not married." While scrolling through texts, he was explaining the conversation that he had with Althea. He invited her as he knew that she enjoyed cruises and gambling, but it's too costly for her to go frequently. He didn't invite any other friends as they have family commitments or they have no interest in cruises. He will still go on this upcoming cruise alone, as after this cruise he will be upgraded to the next tier. This means that our next cruise will come with free room upgrades, lounge access, and another place to eat with peace without squeezing in the buffet area. I then explained in detail why it was inappropriate to invite her. She recently broke up, she doesn't have clear boundaries with the opposite gender, and she has no control in booze intake. As a responsible adult, you don't put yourself in circumstances with unnecessary risks. Things may or may not happen. If it happens, you have to bear the consequences. If it doesn't happen, you already knew that you can resist the temptation, but it doesn't mean you can resist it again next time. I did not stay in contact with all of my exes because I don't want to have all of the unnecessary risks. I had close friends of the opposite gender, but I went low contact after they have partners. Because both of us are innocent, this does not mean that it will not cause issues in their relationships. I have never stopped him from meeting friends of the opposite gender because I trust him. But now, because of his interactions with Althea, it makes me not want to meet and know Althea personally. Althea isn't going to be the last case if he continues to blur his boundaries with the opposite gender, and I told him that it's not her fault, it's his fault. But I am okay for him to continue to go out for a meal with her, just don't invite me. He said he doesn't intend to meet her anytime soon because of this issue. He now understood why it's so inappropriate to invite her to go on a cruise with him. He said that I'm his first relationship, so he's still learning what is right and what is wrong. Oh, wow. First relationship. It is unfair for me to expect him to know it from the start, as even with our 7 years of relationship together, he is still learning new things. It is better for me to tell him directly. I asked him if he has rejected Althea's interest to go on a cruise with him. He said that he didn't intend to. He'll just wait until she asks again and tell her that he no longer has the free cruise. I told him that this is not acceptable. I would expect him to downright reject her now and not keep her hopes up. I don't want her to think that it's okay to go on a trip with him. He said that he will tell her but won't mention it is because I objected to it. And by the way, I will never object to you guys checking out full episodes with more stories just like this one on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, or whatever your favorite podcast app is.
True that.
Search OK Storytime.
Search it up.
I'll never object. Judge.
I never object. Judge, judge, judge.
Judge, judge, judge. I don't object.
I don't object. Oh, man.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's kind of hard for me to like think about this relationship when I feel so differently about like gender norms, I guess.
I agree. I just feel like they don't trust each other. That's my problem.
Right?
At the end of the day, it feels like they don't trust each other.
Yeah, like I don't know. I feel like I would in some contexts and in some situations, like it might be weird to go on a one-on-one trip with a friend of the gender that you're attracted to, but like
I don't know.
If you trust your person.
Yeah, which she doesn't.
Yeah.
She doesn't trust her. And also I feel like the whole the evidence that Althea wasn't a trustworthy person was that she sat on another guy's lap, who we don't know was in a relationship. Never heard that.
Right. And
like could just like him.
Didn't see Red Bull Rana's. What was that comment that you clicked on?
1 second.
He's getting the cruise because he gambles so much that he's considered a high roller. They get their food, room, bars, stuff like that comped because they drop so much money in the casino.
Interesting.
Dang.
Interesting.
That's crazy.
So they're basically just paying for their next day?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, literally. That's so funny. Yeah, at first I was like, what can I do to get like this guy? But I don't want to do that.
Hey.
I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
There is a little bit more. He mentioned that he would wish to maintain his friendship with Althea, as she had initiated to help him through difficult times before my husband and I met, and he won't be able to pass through those times without her help. It is difficult for him at his age, with his work nature having no colleagues, to make new friends. His friends will only get fewer as he ages, unlike me, who can make new friends through work. Hence, he treasures every friendship he has now. I agreed to let him keep the friendship with Althea, but they have to maintain clear boundaries going forward. His actions and words sounded very sincere to me, and hence I have decided to move past this issue. We will work together to earn back the trust level I had for him previously. And that's the end of that story.
Okay, good luck.